There was a moment when Shen Yue stood in front of Jackie Chan, shaking so badly that she could barely speak. And what happened next could have easily become one of those moments an actor wishes the world would forget. That Shen Yue did something that changed the entire meaning of that scene. She stayed and she listened. And when Jackie Chan told her something she probably didn't want to hear, she didn't walk away from it. Years later, that moment feels very different. Because sometimes, the most important part of someone's journey isn't when everyone tells them they're amazing. It's what they do when someone tells them they're not ready. And Shen Yu's story here is surprisingly powerful. Here on Asian Star Spotlight, we don't just talk about Shen Yu's dramas, pairings, possibilities, and co-stars. We explore the stories, the facts, and the bigger picture behind her journey. If that sounds like your kind of content, subscribe and join us right now. Today, we're going back to one of Shen Yu's earlier appearances on Memories Beyond Horizon, long before the polished red carpets, major campaigns, and the confidence we've become so familiar with. Because watching Shen Yue in this environment gives us a completely different look at the person behind the actress. And the person Jackie Chan encountered that day wasn't the confident Shen Yue we know now. She was nervous, and she was trying to prove that she belonged. When Shen Yue stepped onto the evaluation stage, the pressure was obvious. She was standing in front of some of the biggest names in Hong Kong cinema, and the nerves got the better of her. Her hands were shaking, her voice became unsteady, and eventually she broke down. Now, it would have been very easy for that moment to become the entire story. The young actress who couldn't handle the pressure, the celebrity who wasn't prepared, and the person who wasn't ready. But Shen Yue didn't let the moment end there. After collecting herself, she came back, and instead of pretending that she hadn't been affected, she asked Jackie Chan a surprisingly honest question. She wanted to know whether he had ever experienced a moment when he completely lacked confidence. And his answer was simple. Too many times. For someone like Jackie Chan, that answer carries a lot of weight, because the person sitting in front of her wasn't someone who had always been fearless. He had experienced rejection, struggled to break into Hollywood, and he had moments when the industry itself made him question whether he belonged. So in that moment, Shen Yue wasn't simply talking to a legendary actor. She was talking to someone who understood what it felt like to doubt yourself. But Jackie Chan wasn't there just to make Shen Yue feel better. Later, when the trainees were given the opportunity to participate in action training, Shen Yue was one of the first people willing to step forward. She wanted to try. And that's when Jackie Chan gave her a reality check. He questioned whether her physical frame would make certain action roles convincing on screen. It was blunt. And honestly, probably not the easiest thing to hear. But here's the part I think is important. Shen Yue didn't let those words become the definition of what she could or couldn't become. She still tried, still showed up and kept learning. Because being told that something may not suit you is not the same thing as being told that you have no future. And Shen Yue understood that distinction. She didn't have to prove Jackie Chan wrong that very second. She just had to keep moving. And this is where I think her story becomes much more encouraging. Because Shen Yu's journey wasn't built on never hearing criticism. She heard it. She experienced rejection. She had moments where she clearly wasn't the strongest person in the room. But none of those moments became the reason she stopped. She kept working. She kept taking opportunities. She kept trying things that were outside her comfort zone. And eventually, the girl who was standing on that stage shaking in front of Jackie Chan became an actress, with her own established place in the industry. That's the part I don't want us to overlook. Sometimes we look at successful people and only see where they are now. We see the campaigns, the premieres, the beautiful photographs, and the confident interviews. But we don't always see the awkward beginnings that came before all of that. Shen Yu's journey is a reminder that you don't have to be completely confident before you begin. Sometimes confidence comes because you kept going. And interestingly, the relationship between Shen Yue and the veteran mentors didn't remain stuck in that first impression. As they saw more of her work ethic, her willingness to learn, and the way she approached the experience without pretending to know everything, their attitude toward her began to soften. And that makes the earlier criticism even more interesting. Because sometimes professional honesty isn't about putting someone down. Sometimes it's about telling them where the obstacles are, and then watching what they do with that information. And Shen Yu's answer wasn't to argue. It was to continue. That's probably why this old footage feels so different when you watch it now. You're not simply watching Shen Yue struggle. You're watching someone at the beginning of a much longer journey. And maybe that's what makes the scene so human. Because almost everyone has experienced a version of this. Someone tells you that you're not good enough. Someone points out something you're lacking. Someone makes you question whether you're actually capable of doing what you want. And sometimes those words hurt. But they don't necessarily get the final say. Shen Yue didn't become successful because nobody ever doubted her. She became successful because doubt didn't stop her from continuing. And honestly, that's a much more meaningful story. And this is exactly the kind of Shen Yue story I want us to talk about here on Asian Star Spotlight. Not just the glamorous moments, the latest photographs or trending headlines, but the little moments that help us understand how she became the person we're watching today. So I'm curious about you. If you were standing in Shen Yue's position that day, and someone you respected gave you that kind of blunt criticism, would it motivate you to work harder? Or would it make you question yourself? Tell me honestly in the comments, because I have a feeling the answers are going to be very different. If you enjoy these deeper Shen Yue stories, the moments behind the headlines, the career decisions, the people who've crossed her path, and the little details that reveal who she really is, consider subscribing to Asian Star Spotlight. And if you want to support the channel a little more closely, you can also join the membership. Your support helps me keep researching, writing, and creating these stories for everyone who loves following Shen Yue beyond just the latest headline. Thank you for being here. And if you've been following Shen Yue for a while, I think you'll agree. Sometimes the most beautiful part of her journey isn't where she ended up. It's the fact that she kept going when she wasn't there yet. And that is a story worth remembering. Take care, Star Mooncakes, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.